And welcome to the 27th annual, very hard to believe, 27th annual Denise Carty-Bennia Memorial Bar event. We're so pleased everyone could join us today. We have a good group joining us of staff and faculty, our dean, our keynote. We also have lots of awardees this year. We have 7. So we're pleased to acknowledge them today, to celebrate them today, and we have a great way to do that, which is this special event honoring our students of color in our community. Garrett, I'm going to kick it over to you for the introduction, and take it away, Garrett.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. This is my first Zoom award ceremony, so please bear with me. Welcome to the 27th annual Denise Carty-Bennia Bar event. I think it's probably, even though it's the 27th, it's probably the first one on Zoom. So today we're honoring students who are carrying on the ideals of Professor Denise Carty-Bennia with commitment to diversity and making change for minority communities in the legal world and otherwise. My name is Garrett Lee. I'm one of the co-chairs, along with Lennox Chase, of the Diversity Committee for the Alumni Board of Directors. And I'm also, of course, a proud graduate of this law school. First and foremost, I want to welcome all of you here. Parents, faculty, friends, family. We're so lucky to have you here to support our students and to celebrate their achievements. Many of our honorees owe so much to you for the support and guidance along their entire journey. Mostly, I want to welcome the students here today. I'm so sorry that this ceremony and your graduation can't be in person. However, I want you to remember that everything you've done for the last 3 years, the reading, the writing, the learning, the lectures, the long nights studying for exams, it doesn't mean anything less because we can't be in person. This is a huge achievement, and we are all celebrating you today, and we're all hopeful for our future because of you. Congratulations. Today's honorees submitted resumes and essays, all of which were read by the Diversity Committee of the Alumni Board and evaluated on various criteria. I was moved by all of the essays that I read. We have some talented students with unbelievable stories and experiences, and you'll hear from some of them today. Due to the extremely generous donations from our donors, we're able to award $2,000 each to 7 honorees today. Now, I've been part of this event for a few years now. Let me tell you, this is one of the best award ceremonies I go to, Zoom or otherwise. Honoring the students who share the same ideals as Professor Carty-Bennia is one of the most uplifting and inspirational ways that you can spend a couple of hours. So please, sit back, relax, enjoy, and join me in honoring our recipients. We're so pleased that the Dean of the Law School, Dean Hackney, is here with us today. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Dean Hackney for a few words.
Thank you, Garrett. Really appreciate those words. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone, students, staff, faculty, board members, and especially families. It is my pleasure to be with you today to honor both our recipients and the memory of Denise Carty-Bennia. Denise was an educator, a mentor, an advisor, and a friend to countless Northeastern law students and faculty colleagues. She was dedicated to the expansion of opportunities for people of color, and we honor her each year at this event and through these awards. I'd like to read a quote from a former keynote speaker, Joe Feaster, Northeastern University School of Law, class of '75. Quote, and Joe knew Denise well, quote, Denise invested her whole life in trying to achieve social justice and equity for people of color, close quote. It has been my pleasure to serve as dean for the last 2 years and to be able to get to know many of the students who are being honored today and I'm proud to be here with them and their families. The roster for today is that we'll hear excerpts from their essay submissions read aloud from Garrett, as well as Miel, our Director of External Relations. Each year, we select a keynote speaker for this event, and this year we're pleased to have Professor Patricia Williams as our keynote for today. So congratulations to the honorees. I'm going to read their names aloud before I introduce Professor Williams. So the honorees for the award today are Sitraka St. Michael, Kaila Clark, Hakeem Muhammad, Tania Murillo, Sarah Nawab, Jason Natareno, and Rachel Uemoto. Sorry. We wish you well and best in your study for the bar exam. I wish I could say I remember that fondly, but it's a process. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Patricia Williams, University Distinguished Professor of Law and Humanities. Professor Williams has published widely in the areas of race, gender, literature, and law, including her highly influential text. If you haven't read it yet, you should, The Alchemy of Race and Rights. So Pat, take it away.
Thank you, James, and thank you, Garrett, and thank you, Miel. It's such an honor to be among you. You remarkable, brilliant winners of this scholarship. Felicitations to you and to your extended families. My warmest congratulations to each of you, Sitraka, Kaila, Hakeem, Tania, Sarah, Jason, and Rachel. I feel so honored to be here that I am not only wearing pearls today, I am actually wearing little heels. It's the first time in months. But again, I must say it's a real honor to be among you, to greet you at this threshold, and it's why I love graduations. And it is really, for me, lovely to draw from your sustaining sense of the possible. And as you know, I'm a newcomer to Northeastern, so I missed much of the journey of your individual matriculation here. I didn't get to know as many of you as I wish I had, but I look forward to getting to know you in the years to come as alums and through all the wonderful successes I know you will achieve. This shutdown will not last forever. We will not have our noses pressed to the window pane of our Zoom screens indefinitely. And when that time comes, I hope you will please come by my office and let me greet each of you in person. And one of the things I have learned in the last few months of my being at Northeastern, I just came in December, is what an amazing place Northeastern Law School is, even under such conditions of such tremendous stress. And I came here because I always knew it was an amazing community, but never more so than now. For 40 years, which is how long I have been in law teaching, I was always trying to replicate parts of its unique curriculum into my prior academic homes. For 40 years, I've been inspired by the model of legal education that distinguishes Northeastern and its commitment to practice, to social justice, and creative interdisciplinarity. So I feel lucky to have found my way here before you, even at my advanced age. But you are luckier yet to have begun your legal career here. If there is nothing good about being thrown into practice in the middle of a global pandemic, you graduates of Northeastern in specific must remember that you are light years more prepared than most graduates of any other law school in the nation, because you have been prepared to hit the ground running. You know your way around, and you found your purpose in lawyering by virtue of having to encounter and sustain and endure the same from the moment of your very first co-op. You are all endowed with strength whose depth you may not even appreciate just yet. One of the reasons that this law school is unique in such a foundational sense is because of Professor Denise Carty-Bennia, in whose name this gift is made. She began teaching here at Northeastern Law School in 1977. And you need to understand what law schools were like in those days and how unusual her presence at any law school was in 1977. You need to take a look at old movies like 1L or The Paper Chase to see what law schools were like in those days, to really understand that they were just about all male and very demographically uniform in absolutely every sense of that word. She graduated from law school not long before that in 1973. I graduated in 1975, so we were about the same generation. And I got to know Denise, even though we didn't go to school together, we didn't live in the same cities, we never had a job at the same place, but purely because we were among the very few women graduates of law school in the 1970s and the early 1980s, to say nothing of women of color. We knew each other, in other words, even before we met, because people would come up to you no matter where you were on the entire planet. I'd be standing in Texas at some conference and somebody would come up and say, "Oh, do you know this other Black woman named Denise?" So we were that scarce. I never had a female professor in law school, and I know she didn't either. Female students in law school tended to be in the single digits before about 1975, 76, 77. And it was lonely. And people forget that in those days, again, the schools were entirely male, law firms were almost entirely male, the judiciary was entirely male, and that's before, again, you got to the question of people of color. But there were virtually no women of color in law schools and law practice, and most particularly not in legal academia. And I remember talking with Denise about how tiring it was being the only in absolutely every setting. The first Black, the first woman, the first Black woman, exclamation point, the first one hired at this firm, the first one to appear in district court, the first one to appeal in appellate court, the first one to teach Con Law 1, the first one to teach Con Law 2, the first one to publish an article in this law review, then that law review, the first one to get tenure, on and on. It was amazing how many firsts one lonely person got to be in those days. It was amazing how many glass ceilings we broke with our fragile, precious skulls. I still get headaches from bumping against all that glass in those days. And so, as I said, it was lonely. And let me tell you how lonely. Denise started teaching, as I said, in 1977. When I started teaching 3 years later, in 1980, there were still only 6 women of color teaching in the entire United States. 4 African-American women, including at the historically Black colleges. There was 1 Asian American and 1 Latina. So people keep asking me, did I know Denise? Well, of course, again, I knew Denise. We were just destined to know each other because we were so conspicuous. And when you'd go to a AALS meeting, there'd be several thousand people milling about in vast convention spaces and no one would speak to you. And you were always having to prove yourself in the most exhausting ways and nobody knew how to speak to you really. And you'd feel physically short even when you were tall. And Denise was quite tall because you were always looking at a wall of men's backs. And then, miracle of miracle, you'd spot this other oddball from the other side of the room and you'd literally run up to this other odd person and ask, "Who are you?" And I remember when Denise said, "I'm Denise," I said, "Oh, you're Denise. You're the one that people keep asking about." And in that sense of singularity, of always being not just exceptional, but out of place, I think that that's the heart of where Denise drew her commitment to her teaching here at Northeastern, her commitment to the profession of law, to the principles of inclusion and anti-discrimination, and most especially in her commitment to her students. She wanted to change the circumstances that would mark anyone as an oddball or that would make any of us feel isolated in our humanity. She taught constitutional law and she was passionate about the theories, the laws, the practice that would open up that vital body of knowledge to all races, religions, genders, and ethnicities. She fought discrimination in her championing of civil rights and liberties, in her passionate representation of clients, in her contributions to make this faculty inclusive well before so many other law schools did. And most of all, to diversify the student body here at Northeastern. As you know, she helped found BALSA, and she supported the fundamentals of diversity that led to the proliferation of other student organizations in support of Asian, Latinx, LGBTQI, Muslim, so many other opportunities for malleable and our ever-evolving categories of unfairly stigmatized identity. She loved her students, and she made sure that they had the encouragement and support and the gift of confidence that was lacking for us and for those generations which preceded us. Indeed, the memory of her that everyone who knew her shares is of being surrounded by lots of eager students. Denise was this great magnetic presence, leading a swirling pod of lawyer hatchlings, students just swimming around her, bobbing and floating, seeking her light and borrowing from the warmth and the strength of that light. You should all have figures like that in your life. And as lawyers, you will be that light to the clients whose causes you champion and pursue. And you, specifically the recipients of this prize, were chosen precisely because people can see in you that power that Denise radiated. That is a kind presence and a strong sense of justice and the determination to better the lives of others. People can see that you have that light, the light of a leader. And because you are part of this wonderful community of Northeastern, you will lead, but you will never be alone. With the wind of this community and its legacy at your back, beneath your wings, and paving the way in front of you. So go forth, but remember to come back when you need refreshing and support. This place is here for you. But now, go forth and do good, because there is surely so much good waiting to be done just now. Thank you, and again, congratulations to you all.
Terrific. Thanks for those inspiring words.
Great job.
That was terrific. And I noticed we have over 80 participants. This is amazing. So it's like very exciting. We're going to move to the next half of our program, in which Garrett and Miel will read excerpts from the essays, and then the recipients will say some words. So I'll turn it over to Garrett and Miel.
Thanks, James. Thank you, Professor Williams. That was really inspiring, and it was fun to hear your stories. So next, the portion of our event is where we read an excerpt and then tell you who wrote it, and then the awardee is invited to say a few words. I'm just gonna do a little thank you to Susan Mays Rothstein, who always did this with complete aplomb, and hope that we will do her justice as well. So this makes me think of her. So here we go. I'm going to start us off. The first generation Bostonians to whom I used to teach emotional intelligence in the South End and the LGBTQ advocates I used to support in Chicago fueled my ambition to become a lawyer. I have relished Newsell's admonition to hone my legal skills without ever forgetting their stories, so that I may meet professional ambitions and community responsibility I hold as a foreign-born, first-generation, openly gay lawyer of color. Ultimately, it is my ambition for inclusivity, my commitment to excellence, and my indebtedness to Newsell's kindness that I am able to cultivate as a Newsell alumnus, attorney, and community leader of color. My intention is to continue to pay the Newsell community kindness forward by championing inclusivity in Boston's legal community in 3 ways. 1, building a private equity practice and a pro bono practice, both devoted to voting rights, sustaining the pipeline of lawyers of color, and remaining faithful to my call to mentor younger peers from disadvantaged communities like mine, especially young women of color. When my South End students come to my swearing-in ceremony, I want them to meet the budding young women lawyers I have mentored and see how I did finish law school and embrace an enlarged sense of what is possible for their futures, which is what the witness of Professor Carty-Bennia and the spirit of Northeastern law teaches me to pass on to others. Our first awardee is Sitraka St. Michael.
Thank
Sitraka,
you. Thank you.
would you like to say a
Hi.
few words?
Yes, sure. Well, so hi everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to celebrate us. Again, I am very indebted to Nusol. It's been very good to me. And I meant every word that I said in that essay, and I look forward to keep on paying forward what Nusol has given me, which is all the kindness and also all of the consistent challenge to be a true professional and to be truly competent in all the areas of law that I want to embrace. And I, again, want to thank everybody who keeps Nusol going. It's a very special place, and it definitely has allowed me to reinvent myself. And look forward to the time when I get to maybe be on the other side and see some more lawyers of color as well get this award in the future. So thank you, everybody.
Big claps. If anyone wants to say anything in the chat, we're recording this, but Sitraka, congratulations. It's been a pleasure to get to know you. I know many of your professors and administrators are all thrilled that you're going to go forth and do great things and give back to the communities, both the community of color, the Nusol community, and we look forward to seeing how far you will fly.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Okay, Garrett, you're up next.
All right, so here is an excerpt from our next awardee, her essay. 15 years later, after going away to college, I returned to New York City and spent 4 years teaching special education. It became apparent to me I was operating in a system where one's access to great teachers and a quality education were too often determined by one's home address. I pursued a law degree and used my legal education to expand opportunities for marginalized populations through impact litigation. Because impact litigation relies on making statutory arguments or constitutional claims, often in appellate litigation, I spent nearly all my co-ops in furtherance of gaining exposure to this field. My first co-op was in the impact litigation unit of a legal services organization. I also co-opted with a federal judge with the civil rights unit at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and will do an appellate court clerkship after graduation. My legal education will strengthen and safeguard human rights and dignity, particularly where the rule of law disproportionately impacts people of color. This awardee is Kaila Clark. Kaila, congratulations. Would you like to say a few words for us?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Garrett, for that introduction, and thank you to the entire scholarship committee for this award. It's an honor to receive the award, but it's even more so an honor to have an award named after Professor Carty-Bennia. I did have an opportunity to do some research about her on the internet, and so many wonderful things came up about how she was just a fierce advocate, which is what I aspire to be. And it's also an honor to receive this diversity scholarship in her name. Often when we have diversity scholarships, particularly in the legal field, as it relates to law firms at least, a lot of times people expect that when you are a recipient of such a scholarship, you're going to be a role model to the people who are coming after you. And that's a compliment in and of itself. And we can never take that away from anyone. But more so, it's important to know that when you come into a space and when you're granted an opportunity, that you're going to be able to build a bridge for other people coming after you, not just be a role model. And I was so glad to see that this scholarship award that was named in Professor Carty-Bennia's honor, the essay question had to do with expanding opportunities for people of color. So it was already assumed that the award recipients are going to go out into the legal profession and really make some radical change. So thank you to everyone who sent me an email or a text message encouraging me to apply. And I'm just so grateful for this opportunity to be able to focus solely on my bar prep and really focus on becoming a lawyer and having that be part of my toolkit. So thank you so much. And congratulations to the other awardees.
Yay, Kayla. Great
Thank
job.
you, Kayla. We look forward to all the great things you're going to be doing. I was truly moved by your essay. So good luck with bar prep and everything in the future.
Thank you so much.
Miel, I'll turn it back over to you.
Great. Next up, as a future public defender in the historically Black community of Roxbury, I will draw upon the legal education I obtained from the courses I have taken at Northeastern University School of Law, such as race, justice, and reform, to increase the quality of representation of minority defendants in criminal cases, introduce innovative arguments to combat racial bias in the criminal legal system, and be an outspoken advocate for reforms that aim to address racial bias in the criminal legal system. The criminal legal system plays a decisive role in limiting life prospects for people of color, especially Black defendants. As a public defender in Roxbury, I intend to partner with other organizations such as the Black Public Defenders Association, the National Legal Aid and Defenders Association, to advocate for reforms to address racism in the criminal legal system. And I intend to be at the forefront of making innovative legal arguments to ensure minority defendants are protected from unfair racial prejudice. And I plan to teach other public defenders how to make such arguments as well. As a public defender, I will do everything in my power to combat racism in the criminal system, and in doing so, hope to continue the remarkable legacy of the late Northeastern professor, Denise Carty-Bennia. The award is Hakeem Muhammad. Congratulations, Hakeem.
Thank you. Thank you for reading the excerpt. So I want to thank all of my peers, professors, as well as the co-op office at Northeastern University for providing an atmosphere where social justice legal work is valued, where it's fostered, and where there's an atmosphere and a culture that values this type of legal work to expand opportunities for people of color. I think just my time at Northeastern University, I've had so many great opportunities that I'm appreciative of, from the Prisoners' Rights Clinic, working on different human rights work with Professor Alfred Barnell, doing different civil rights litigation and civil rights work. It's so many great opportunities at Northeastern University to do amazing social justice legal work. And I'm very honored to be a recipient of this award, especially when we're talking about expanding access or expanding opportunities for people of color, and that being Professors Denise Carty-Bennia's legacy. When we just think about the bar exam and how much, what an obstacle for first generation law students, the financial burdens that the bar exam, from the prep companies to the actual cost of taking the bar exam, I think that's a very formidable hurdle. So I'm very thankful to receive this award, and I look forward to working with Northeastern in the future to help further opportunities for people of color. So thank you.
Thank you, Hakeem. We know you're going to go forward and do great things. We're so pleased with the way your future is headed. We can't wait to hear how it goes for you in the next year or two, but I'm glad we were able to help a little bit with bar prep. So congratulations. You've done amazing work here at Northeastern, and we're really, really proud of you. Okay, we're gonna, thanks Hakeem. We're gonna turn it back over to Garrett.
Here's some excerpts from the next essay. I want my legal work to empower people and communities of color by building trusting relationships and listening and understanding their vision of justice. Furthermore, as a lawyer, I want to use multiple legal strategies to more holistically fight for the needs of people of color, whether that be seeking long-term systemic change through impact litigation, providing life-sustaining direct legal services, or giving access to information to the communities and people of color fighting at the front lines for justice. As a lawyer, I hope I can be a vehicle for bringing justice and liberation to all communities of color. This awardee is Tania Murillo. Congratulations. Tania, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for being here, and thank you to the Alumni Association for this scholarship. Yeah, I think I just want to say that, you know, I came to law school in the pursuit of like fighting for racial justice. This has been kind of my main mission, and as it, you know, over these years, I've just seen how this issue is so important and also intersects with so many other issues. And our fight for justice is not just racial justice, it's economic justice, it's gender justice, it's all these things. And I just want to thank all my classmates, all the students here that are getting awards, and all the other students at the school. Northeastern has been a really amazing experience for being able to be surrounded by really critical thinkers, people that are really trying to push themselves to think differently about the law and expand how they view the law and how it can be used to bring about social change. So thank you to everyone that's really kind of helped me build my framework. And a special shout out to Professor Mallory, who has been there since first year of law school, has been a major support system. Thank you to all my group of friends from 1L a year who have been such a like strong weight, a place for me to fall after the stress of 1L, 2L, and 3L a year. And thank you to everyone outside of my law school who's been just a huge support network, and understand how important this is to me and important how this is for my vision of justice. So thank you so much.
Tania, congratulations again. From reading your essay and your resume, your experiences are unbelievable. You've done so much already. We can't wait to see what you're going to do next. So congratulations again. Miel, I'll turn it back over to you.
Terrific, congratulations. Next up, I'm going to read the next essay. I intend to use my legal education to expand opportunities for people of color by dedicating my career to prisoners' rights work. The United States criminal and carceral systems target Black and brown people, so people of color are disproportionately represented behind bars. An issue within prisoners' rights work that I am especially passionate about is incarcerated women's experiences. As in the case with men, incarcerated women are disproportionately of color. On top of all the same challenges that incarcerated men face, incarcerated women also face their own unique challenges. The vast majority of incarcerated women have experienced sexual violence prior to incarceration and continue to face sexual violence at the hands of carceral state. Additionally, a majority of incarcerated women are primary caregivers and also have distinct medical needs around reproductive health. Racial discrimination is often discussed in broad strokes, ignoring the complexities of its intersection with sexism. I intend to use my legal education to acknowledge this intersection and serve those caught in the crosshairs, thereby expanding opportunities for women of color who are often erased from advocacy around the criminal and carceral systems. This awardee is Sarah Nawab. Congratulations, Sarah, and we'd love to hear from you.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to the Alumni Board for being among the students selected for this scholarship, and congratulations to all the other awardees. I think one important thing about public interest work and public interest legal work is the fact that we can't do it alone. We all have to work together, and we all have our mentors along the way to guide us. So I just wanted to take my moment to speak to thank by name professors and faculty members at NUSL who have guided me. So Professor Mays Rothstein, Professor Susan Mays Rothstein, thank you. Professor Christine Durkin, thank you and rest in peace. Professor Leo Beletsky, thank you. Professor Michael Dempowski, thank you. Professor Deborah Ramirez, thank you. Professor Aziza Ahmed, thank you. Professor Hemant Gundavaram, thank you. Dean Nima Eshghi, thank you. Kristen Wheeler, thank you. Dean Candace Kukis, thank you. And thank you to every other professor and faculty member who has guided me along the way. And to all my friends at NUSL who have guided me along the way. And above all, thank you, Mom and Dad. I wish I could be there with you in person. Thank you for everything.
Yay, great job. Yes, congratulations to all of the families as well, because we know it takes a village to get everyone through. So congratulations, Sarah, great job. We're proud of you. Thanks for being with us here today. Good job. So Garrett, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Enjoy your moment. Thank you.
Here's an excerpt from the next one. Additionally, I want to be a conduit to and from my community. I want to show my community that we belong in the state houses and city halls of America. We deserve a seat at the table when policies are drafted, legislation is crafted and voted on, and bills are signed. I want to show my community that working alongside the state's chief executive is an achievable goal, not just a utopian dream. I intend to expand opportunities for people of color by providing a much-needed perspective from my new seat at a table long occupied by old, wealthy white men, never forgetting that my community is counting on me to make sure there are no more exceptions, that all teachers see potential in all students, and that the doors of state houses and city halls are open to all of us. This awardee is Jason Natareno. Congratulations, Jason. Would you like to say a few words for us?
Yes, thank you, Garrett, for that introduction. I want to thank the Alumni Association for honoring me with this award. I can only hope to one day make the kind of impact that Professor Carty-Bennia made. I also want to thank my parents who are watching right now. They have made so many sacrifices to give me the opportunity at an education. Nothing makes me happier to know that they're seeing the fruits of their efforts. Lastly, I just want to give a special shout out to Professor McCoy. Professor McCoy was always a guiding light for me and always encouraged me to keep going. Thank you.
Great job.
Jason, congratulations. It's amazing that we have someone like you that's going to be in the Rhode Island State House. We need more people like you there, but hopefully there's more to come. So good luck with everything. We wish you the best for the future. Miel?
Great job, Jason. All right. Our last awardee, I'm going to read an excerpt from their essay. I wasn't supposed to be a law student. In fact, I wasn't supposed to enroll in any graduate program. My family consists of low-income workers. When I was a child, there were points when my mother, an admin assistant, could not afford a new bottle of toothpaste. So we squeezed what we could out of the crumpled thin tube at home. I dreamt of having my own bed instead of sleeping in the living room on a futon mattress I shared with my brother. College and law school seemed far out of reach. I didn't even let myself consider them as options. Soon I will have the privilege of calling myself an alumna of Northeastern University School of Law because I was lucky. I was lucky to receive scholarships that got me through college and law school. I put in work to earn scholarships and I studied hard to prove I deserved the awards. But ultimately, I still deem myself lucky because there are countless other intelligent, qualified, motivated people of color who have not had the same opportunities to prove themselves worthy of scholarships. I don't believe our educational opportunities should be determined by luck or that people of color should have to rely on scholarships to fund their schooling. Families of color deserve the financial means to provide their children with the full range of educational opportunities. As an employment attorney, I plan to work towards reformation of labor and employment laws to achieve economic equity and facilitate generational advancement for communities of color. The awardee is Rachel Uemoto. Congratulations, Rachel. I'd love it if you would say a few words.
Sure. Hi, everybody. First, I want to thank the board for giving us these awards. It's an honor to have this award named after Professor Carty-Bennia. And I also want to thank, extend congratulations to all the other recipients because having gone to law school alongside you with the past 3 years, you've made such an incredible impact on me, and I'm so grateful for your presence. I know I'm the last recipient, so I want to keep this brief. I just wanted to touch on why Northeastern has been such a privilege for me and why I'm so grateful to be a member of this community. I think nowadays social justice is a buzzword that we hear a lot in popular culture. It's something that people talk about having as a value, and it's something that some people even they bring it to work with them. But I think what separates Northeastern students from the rest is that we live by our values, and it shows through in the ways we spend our free time, convening committees and starting new events on behalf of students of color. It shows in the ways that we amplify other students of color in class and their voices. And I think as we all develop our legal careers, it'll show through in the ways that we change the legal system for the better. And I'm very proud to be here and to be a member of this community. And I think Northeastern, like the administration and my educators, have made me a smarter advocate, and my peers have made me a more compassionate person. So I'm really grateful to have both of these tools, and thank you everyone for the impact you've had on me.
Great job, Rachel. We're very, very touched by what you wrote and what you said. And it is true, it can be a buzzword. So thank you for just touching that point, and we appreciate it. Congratulations to you and your family. You've done great work here. We're really, really proud of you. Garrett, I'm going to turn it over to you. And at the end, we're going to ask everyone to unmute. And if you want to pop in with video, you can. But Garrett, if you would wrap us up. Thank you, Rachel. Congratulations.
Hey, everyone, just a few closing remarks here. I have some thank yous. Thank you to Dean Hackney for being here and for your support. We're so lucky to have a dean that shows the true commitment to diversity and advancing opportunities for those who don't always have those opportunities. Thank you, Professor Williams, for the truly inspirational words, truly amazing. It even invigorates older graduates like myself to get out there and make a difference. So thank you. Thank you, Miel Marquis in the Office of Development and Alumni Relations for organizing this event. I imagine it hasn't been easy to adapt to this new world that we're in, but Miel, you've done a great job, including in setting this up, so thank you. Thank you to the members of the Diversity Committee for the Alumni Board of Directors, Dylan Sanders, Michael Xavier, Raquel Webster, and of course my co-chair, Lennox Chase. We spent the time to read all the essays and resumes and come up with the winners, so thank you guys for that. And I also want to thank all of you for dialing in to this online award ceremony, for your guidance and support for all of our wonderful students. But mostly thank you to the students. We read many essays to choose the winners, and I was moved by each and every one that I read. I'm so impressed by the quality of the writing, the accomplishments and the goals of this class. The future of the legal profession as it concerns minorities is looking great, and we are going to need you. Students, good luck and congratulations on all you've accomplished. In starting your careers as alumni of this law school, please remember to keep in touch. Your relationship with Northeastern, it doesn't end here. We want to hear about all of the great things that you're doing, and we know that you're going to make this law school proud. So thank you, everyone.
Great job, Garrett. Great job, everyone. Congratulations. If anyone wants to unmute and join us in clapping, we'd love it. Yay! Yay! Congratulations! Everyone! Great job, everybody!
Congratulations, Jason!
Yes.
What amazing students! Yes.
So great.
Thank you.
Great teachers. Great to see everyone virtually, at least. So thank you for joining. Congratulations,
Thank you,
Mia,
Mia.
and your families.
Thank you, Miel, and congratulations, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.